Well, hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Totally Amazing Mushrooms. We got a great lineup for you today. We have a thank you, we have a shout out, and we have some more fungal buddies out there. So come for a walk with us, see what we can see. So these guys, I put out a call to action there, one of our last videos. If anybody out there happens to know what this little beauty is growing on a conifer log, I would really like to know. We got a awesome reply. So these guys turned out to be, which I kind of always suspected that they were omphalanoid mushrooms, and these are Chrysomphalina aurantiaca. And yeah, they're edible. There are little white spore prints on them, and you can see that they change color. They're hygrosphonous as they dry out. These guys are starting to get to the end of their little life cycle. There's only 3 species in that genus, so that's really neat little thing about these guys. And they don't just grow on the ends or the barkless areas, they also grow along the barked areas with all the tree, or the barked areas with all the moss and whatnot. But yeah, they're a really cool little mushroom. And thank you so very much for helping us out on our identification on these guys. Very awesome. And I looked up any kind of lab reports, and all I could find is what they were looking at on their hyphae and lamella. But so you can see how they're kind of attached here. You got kind of like a little foot kind of stuck to the log there, and then their mycelium are all kind of right there. You can see where I pulled that one off, and that'll be growing all through this wood here and everything, so just awesome. Here are the green-headed mallards, Anas platyrenchos. Anas platyrenchos. Hanging out in the only thawed out spot on the water there. Well, hey, we've got some, get past the branches, there's some Hypholoma capnoides growing out of this dead Doug fir. Been dead for quite a while, as you can see. These guys are amazing. I absolutely love them. There's a nice little fruiting of them here. They're related to the fasciculare, the sulfur tuft. These are the conifer tuft, or smoky gills. You know how smoky those gills are. So these guys have anti-cancerous properties, and they've also got steroids, and they've got amines and amino acids, and because of all of these beautiful things, plus they also have sesquiterpenes in them, and because of all these beautiful things, they have anti-cancerous qualities, they have anti-malarial qualities, antibacterial qualities, they have antioxidant qualities, and antiviral qualities, and antibacterial qualities. These are awesome. I didn't bring my basket, but we are in a park, and I've got my little dog poopy bag, so I think I'm going to load a few of these up right on, because they're just in prime shape. Even with the frost, it didn't get them too bad because they're underneath this canopy here. Very awesome. Oh, speaking of canopies, wow, there's a bushcraft project right there. Very wicked. Either way, these are what we're here for. Alright, I'm going to load up, and we'll see you in a minute. They can even be real sneaky. These guys are stuck kind of in this little hole here, but I know that he's growing off of this Doug fir. So yeah, so always look all the way around the trees, because you never know where you're going to find them. Look how beautiful these guys are. Wow. Yeah, so easily, just by going by the cap, so easily to be mistaken for the fasciculare, the sulfur tuft, which will give you GI upset. So make sure you know your ID. And then of course you can see on the cap here, there's another one on top of it. You can see the color there, kind of purpley black spores there. Another identifying feature. Into the bag it goes. Alright, carrying on down the trail. Now always try to leave some behind. You know, like even in the hole there I left a couple. And because I know that there's going to be more. Well, it's beautiful sunny weather However, the temperature is not cresting really high, so spots of the lake here that have froze overnight, the sun doesn't touch it and it stays frozen, and then each night gets a little thicker. But man, what a spectacular day. That's so cool. Alright, well, let's get on with the shout out, shall we? So I've been subscribed to a channel for a few months now, several months, and I've really enjoyed everything that has been put out on this channel. Really awesome. So our shout out goes out to Walks with Moss. She has a great channel, and she does really amazing stuff. She'll take you fishing, she'll take you hiking, she'll give you history on the places that she's hiking you with, and she'll cook on the trail. She identifies, she forages, she does just so many things. And just, it's a really great channel. Caught some really nice fish. I love watching the fishing videos, those are great. But yeah, so huge shout out to Walks with Moss. So yeah, well worth the checkout. Tell her Toe and Little said hi. And she has a lovely little dog named Bella, little Springer Spaniel, that goes along with her on all her trips too. So there we go, my friends. That's our shout out for the day. Ooh, walking by this, it just caught my eye. It's like, wow, there's a big fruiting of witch's butter. This is Dacromyces chrysospermus. Yeah, it's growing on a little tiny dead fir tree here. A little too far gone to harvest, but so we're going to carry on. Now this is a very cool find. Look at this. Look at these fine little tiny ice hairs here. Now in order for this to form, all the conditions have to be just right. So you got to have the right humidity, you got to have the right temperature, you got to have the right barometric pressure, and you have to have a particular species of mycelium in the wood. And this is a piece of alder, and there are 30 different species of Ixidiopsis, and there is only one that causes these little ice hairs, and that is Ixidiopsis effusa. So there's a neat little thing in itself. Now, one of the neat things is the mechanism behind all this. So what happens is, on the surface of the barkless wood, underneath, you can, well, I don't want to ruin this, but this is all barkless underneath there. So what happens is a fine layer of ice forms on the surface of this barkless wood. And what happens is water gets sandwiched in between the wood and the ice. And what this does is, in the wood there's these little pores or tubules, and that was what they used to transport all their nutrients and water and stuff through the tree. And what happens is the water that's in these little tubules expands because it's getting drawn out by that one little tiny layer of water. And as it expands, it freezes, and it forms these little tiny hairs. Now the diameter of these hairs are exactly equivalent to the inner diameter of those little tubules. Now, why doesn't it form like a big ice sheet, or like you know, when in the middle of winter when you get really cold and you get logs and you're going to have like little forests of ice crystals, and they're quite big. Well, what happens is the mycelium breaks down the lignin in this wood and the tannic acids, and little tiny microscopic particles of the lignin and whatnot get sent up into these little ice tubes, and they act as kind of a antifreeze protein. And the only reason for this to happen is for the mycelium to break down the lignin in the wood, and that way those little tiny particles can get pushed out. And those form these little tiny fine hairs. And in those hairs, like I said, are the tannins and little tiny chunks of lignin. And very small bits of genetic material from the mycelium. So apparently this mechanism has a name, and it is called ice segregation. So really cool. It was first discovered actually in 1918 by Alfred Wergenzer. He was the same guy that actually noticed the continental drift. So that's pretty wild if you're catching my drift. And yeah, very awesome. And it wasn't until 100 years later before they actually made the link between the actual mycelium of this particular fungus and the hair ice. So very cool. A little bit of history on this guy, but just really, really neat. Absolutely love the structures. But they're just so fine. And just barely breathing on them can make them melt. So the Ixidiopsis is actually related to the jellies. And sometimes they can form just absolutely beautiful patterns. This is a shot here that I took a couple days ago of another one that I found in another area. Kind of looks like a clamshell. So dainty. Anyways, very cool, but we're going to carry on. Oh, I did not expect to see these guys today. Oh man, I love these. These are beautiful. These are some of the hygroscipes, the waxy caps. Now it's got a kind of a slippery cap, and it's got a very slippery stem too, or stipe. Now the Chlorophanna has a slippery cap and stipe. There's another one that looks almost identical, and they say back in 2010, I think they figured that they are the same. That's Hygroscipes flavescens, but it has kind of a drier cap and dry stipe. So that's a little bit of a difference. And the Glutinipes, that's just got kind of a slimy cap to it. And the Sericea is decurrent, and you can see that these gills are not really quite attached. They're kind of notched by the looks of things. Yeah, they're classified as edible. David Aurora in Mushrooms Demystified said they're edible but not remarkable, or I can't remember his exact wording, but I just absolutely love them. All of the waxy caps. I mean, you know, the Conica, the Blackener, that one's beautiful. You get into the red ones, so you got the Splendissima, and you've got the Pudicea, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. You know, the parrot wax caps, the Gliophorus citicinus, that one's the green one, that one's just gorgeous. Oh, there goes some ducks. Yeah, they're just really, really neat. And in Europe, some countries, I believe Poland, Germany, and there's another one, maybe Turkey, I'm not sure. They're on the red list for endangered, possibly to be soon endangered anyways, but yeah, these are just awesome. But yeah, originally described by our wonderful Elias Magnus Fries back in the early 1800s there. And wasn't until quite a bit later when Friedrich Wunsch threw them in the Hygroscipes genus. So just another beautiful, beautiful waxy on the floor. Very cool. Yeah, so I'm going to have to say that this one's most likely the Hygroscipes Chlorophanna. All right, let's boogaloo. And we were talking a little while back about the prices in the grocery store and whatnot. So you know they're selling wild mushrooms in the store too, right? And you can get these little tiny clam shells. They're 84 grams. And you can get winter chanterelles, you can get the hedgehogs, the umbilicatums, the umbilicatums, and several different, they've got the trumpet chanterelles, the black trumpets. So these things are going for $9 for this little tiny 84 gram clamshell of mushrooms. And the great thing is, you know, us foragers, we go out into the bush and we come back with baskets of these things for free. So, very awesome. Oh, got the Lophidites cuculatus here. This is a different lake from mine, but yeah, they're out there. They're all over here. Funny thing about the Lophidites cuculatus is the males in the summer take off. They leave their ladies to raise the babies. I don't know if they go on a big bachelor fest or what they do, but they disappear and then they come back in the fall, waiting for the spring. And when love is in the air. Man, gotta love nature, my friends. Right on. Oop. And while you're walking along, you gotta keep your eye on the ground too. Unlike myself, who is constantly tripping over roots and whatnot, but I'm my own worst enemy. Either way, we'll get through this walk without a tumble. Oh, I guess I can't get through this walk without a tumble. I've already had a bit of a wipeout going through the bush. Whatever. They're just war wounds. Okay, well, I'm hoping I'm going to run across some more Hypholoma capnoides because I only got about 8 on that little flush. Well, we're getting close to the 4-mile mark now. Even with a wounded knee. That's fine. No big deal. I tell you though, if it wasn't for my new hip and all the cortisone shots that I get in my body all the time to counteract the osteoarthritis pains, I would not be out here doing this. It's just been amazing, and I thank the medical profession. They're just awesome. They've been so good to me. Anyways. The thing I love about the Clavulina cristata is that it just keeps going, like all winter, which is great because a lot of the edible mushrooms are gone and they've gone back into the environment. These guys just keep going. You know, I've even picked them frozen in the ground and they're just fine. They don't go all slimy and gross. And yeah, they don't have a lot of flavor, but you know, they've got a lot of good things in them, so we don't have to be foraging just for flavor. We also have to be doing it for nutritional value and different things that help us out along the way. Because by gum, I think we need a little bit of help along the way, my friends. Look at these guys. Yeah, big old Dyer's polypore. Phaeolus schweinitzii. The size of this thing. It's beautiful. Quite solid. It's pretty much done. They like to... Oh, here's another little one. Oh, here's another one. They like growing around the base of these trees, these Doug firs and whatnot. Oh, these guys right here. Yeah, they can get oranges and browns and different colors out of these guys. They're quite amazing. Here, we'll pull one up here that's a little bit smaller so we're not ruining it. But yeah, so the pore surface is getting pretty degraded now. But I believe even at this stage in their life cycle, they can still extract dyes from them. So, yeah, but other than that, I don't really know of any lab reports on any medicinal qualities on these guys. I think eating these guys would pretty much be like eating wood. So maybe just stick to the dyes with these guys. Hence their name, the Dyer's polypore. Yeah. This part here actually isn't quite as degraded. You can tell the pore surface is a little bit better shaped than this side. That's been bug devoured. And this one was named after the mycologist Louis de Schwanitz. You probably mentioned me talk about him before. Beautiful, beautiful fella on the forest floor. These guys, all the way along this trail, now we're in a public area, and these were all cut up a couple of years ago. But, you know, we've got all these Hypholoma capnoides all over it, but unfortunately, these are trailside, and these are all pea logs for dogs, and some people. So we're not even gonna consider putting these into our basket. Well, note to self about this spot here. Here's some old finished off chanterelles, Cantharellus formosus. And they're all over this bank along here. I had no idea. Wow. Okay, well, I am going to remember this spot because this place is loaded, so I'm looking forward to next year and finding some more. But, all right, my friends, mes amis, mien drogs e maiata per drogas. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you somewhere along the trail. Thanks so much. Take care now.